Welcome back to Crypto Odyssey, where we talk about all things crypto, including technical analysis, fundamental analysis, news, updates, XRP, BTC, you name it, we have it here. In this video, we're going to talk about something a little different. We're not going to be dealing with charts. I'm not going to be throwing price predictions out at you. I'm just going to allow you to entertain the thought of this question. What if XRP does for the world what the internet did? Right now, we live in a world where cryptocurrency is not mainstream. It is not something that is adopted by everyone around the world. Usually, if you invest in crypto, you're kind of this risk-taking individual, this person that is maybe gambling on the stock market. The everyday person who goes to work on a 9 to 5 is not necessarily concerned with the price fluctuations of Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, and so on. And the big question is why? Because if we go back to the inception of the internet, we had the same story. We had individuals that were not interested or could not see the bigger picture of how the internet is going to transform the entire world. Email, for example. Sending an email is equivalent in some ways to sending XRP instantaneously. It's value that's been provided seamlessly. Before, we needed to write a letter, then we had fax and telephones and things like this. However, the efficiency became streamlined when we introduced the email. And the same thing with XRP. Swift doesn't work on weekends. Swift is sending out messages instead of actual money in a quick, timely fashion, that is. Whereas XRP is super fast, super efficient, and the fees are a fraction of the cost. So it's remarkable in terms of the value and utility that's there. And it's hard to see why it would not be adopted. Let's just consider if XRP or cryptocurrency in general does for the world what the internet did. What might we see? Well, we'll probably see real companies going live. XRP won't just be an idea or be actually utilized, because XRP has a real purpose. It's not just a store of value like Bitcoin. It's actually used within the RippleNet system to sell international payments. So it replaces the need for pre-funded bank accounts, and it solves a real painful problem in finance. That's not speculation. That's not just an idea. That's going to be real world product market utilization. On top of that, you have ODL, which is On-Demand Liquidity. And this is Ripple's flagship product that uses XRP to settle those transactions between currencies. That's already live. And the more businesses that use ODL, the more volume flows through XRP. That's real demand, not just trading volume, but utility volume. Ripple's global reach. Obviously, we had this situation with America, with the SEC lawsuit, which has been going on for, I think, longer than 4 years now. What global reach does Ripple have beyond that? Well, it's already partnered with over 300 financial institutions. SBI in Japan, Tranglo in Southeast Asia, banks in the Middle East. They're building infrastructure outside of the US, where the regulatory climate is already much more favorable than the US. And that matters because adoption is happening in the places where the everyday man or woman is not looking. On top of that, we have to consider the regulatory clarity. Now, cryptocurrency, because it is innovative, by definition, it's disruptive. So if it's disruptive, the regulatory framework is not going to be clear. Now, the SEC lawsuit is wrapping up. We just had the abeyance that came in on the 16th of April, which means that no further appeals are taking place. Essentially, a settlement of some kind is going to occur within the next 2 months, which should wrap up this lawsuit so we can colloquially bust case, so to speak. That clarity then opens up doors for institutional investors, US exchanges to start relisting XRP properly, and then that will translate to bigger liquidity pools. Okay, so once that legal weight is off, the floodgates can open. Let's talk about speed though, because when I'm sending Bitcoin or Ethereum, it's just not the same as sending XRP. XRP transactions settle in 3 seconds. Fees basically zero. Energy usage minimal. No mining, no proof of work. That makes XRP hyper attractive to banks, fintechs, and the thing is, it is already scalable. So unlike other blockchains that run into bottlenecks, XRP can handle 1,500 transactions per second. That's the kind of scalability you need for enterprise level finance. Then there's the argument for a green blockchain, for example. Let's not underestimate that, because we know that Bitcoin is intensive on miners. But as the world focuses more on sustainability, XRP's energy efficiency, its efficient conscious model, becomes a major selling point. There's no mining, there's no energy crisis headline, just an efficient movement of value. Ripple's bigger strategic moves are also on the table here. There are rumors of Ripple going public. An IPO would mean media attention, public trust, fresh capital, and so on. And guess what that is tied directly to? It's directly tied to XRP and the XRP ledger. And Ripple's pushing into CBDCs too, working with central banks on pilot projects. This isn't a minor side quest that they are completing. It is the building of a global financial infrastructure, piece by piece. And then we've got what the smart investors are doing, or rather what the whales are doing, because those whales, they haven't just been sleeping, they've been quietly accumulating XRP. And on-chain data does show that large wallets have been increasing their positions during these quiet periods. I mean, XRP is at an all-time low when it comes to its search trends on Google. This is not FOMO that's stepping in, this is long-term positioning. Just the last point before I wrap up this video, which is something to consider on a more globally macro trend, is the idea of, is the world shifting? I mean, there are already talks of a de-dollarization. We've got central banks launching digital currencies. Governments and businesses now are wanting far more neutral, faster global financial rails, essentially. And XRP kind of fits into that picture. It's not tied to a nation despite being the largest American cryptocurrency. It's programmable, and it bridges traditional finance with crypto. It's the banker's coin, so to speak, which obviously to Bitcoin maxis is going to be a red flag. However, I prefer to look at the opportunity. It's much smarter to work with the financial system than it is to throw the financial system into the bin. Money isn't just going to disappear. Power isn't just going to move from one place to another like that. Those who are in power will attach themselves to where power is arising. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. This is something a little different to my normal technical analysis videos that I make. If you enjoyed it, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you back with the next one.